You know, you just hate when you roll the wrong intro, folks. Obviously, this is X Vlog Live. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and pardon the disheveled look. It's been a week. It has been a week. Today has been a day. My unbelievably awesome nephew Tyler is going to be staying over for 4 days. So, of course, I'm prepping the house for his arrival and I'm running here, there, and everywhere. And I literally, folks, I literally just got done doing the wash. Yeah, that's right. Mr. Boomstick is Mr. Mom, and I am okay with it because that's what has to get done. Folks, listen, what can I say? We are officially 7 days and a couple of hours away from Starfield if you're going to play through early access. I am so honored. I am so privileged to sit down with Mr. Bethesda himself. Skullsy TV, what's going on, brother? Welcome back to the program. I know that you are going to have a lot to say. Pete Hines and Phil Spencer out on these Gamescom streets talking about the lengths that they have played this game, the confidence coming out of Todd Howard and the team at Bethesda is on another level. I think what we have seen in the last couple of days is the confidence is that this is the one game that every Xbox fan has been waiting for. We have heard the words true next generation game, the first next generation game of this current gen of the PS5 and Xbox Series X and S gen. We have a lot to get into. How you feeling, brother? Welcome back.
Hey man, I am so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me on. Hello to everyone in the audience. I will probably, fair warning, I will probably go on one of my ye old hype randles or rambles, randles. One
Dude,
of my
dude, this
ye
is a
old.
conversational podcast. I say go crazy.
I'm not saying I'm doing it now. It's just probably going to happen because we're talking about Starfield. And to just like kind of TLDR my life right now, I have been rewatching that like 1 hour, 50-minute Starfield showcase over and over again every day. I'm resetting my sleep schedule so I'll wake up at 7 p.m. Ready on August 31st, an hour before I can play the game for early access. Starfield is absorbing my life right now, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to talk about it. And Gamescom, because Gamescom had some interesting stuff happen too. But no, it's great to be here. All the hype has brought me back from the dead, as it were. I'm feeling better, so I'm super excited to be here today and talk stuff with you.
Well, you know what? Being that we're talking about RPGs, right? I want to bring up an RPG that had a few weeks ago taken the world by storm. And of course, Skulls, you were talking about Baldur's Gate 3. Now, it is a C RPG. It is not a game that is normally territory that I like to play in because it's very technical. From its looks and its feels, it's very PC esque. Not my thing. But the amount of buzz that Larien Studios had gotten for this game, which right now is in the running for Game of the Year. It has broken concurrent Steam records like never before. I think the last time that I checked, it was 843,000 concurrent players. Now, to be fair, the hype has kind of dwindled down a bit. And again, this takes no shine away from what Larien Studios has brought to the table. The reason why I wanted to open with it, and I know, folks, we are here for Starfield and we're going to get into it, but I do have some really great news for Xbox players who were all under the impression that we, or not we, because I'm not going to play it, that Xbox gamers would have to wait until 2024 for this game. Now, originally, Skullsy, and again, I don't know if you've heard about this, the pointing of the finger was that the Series S itself was holding the game back. And obviously, there are a subset of a group of people that went around, blaming the Series S and pointing at Microsoft for making another dumb move. Turns out that Larien Studios themselves has confirmed that not only it wasn't the Series S, but they honestly and truthfully wanted to get out of the way of Starfield because obviously it would have launched right alongside the PlayStation 5 the day that Starfield comes out. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm not a business major, but I think I have a business major in common sense. And I don't think you want to take your CRPG and run it against Starfield. Not because one studio is better than the other, not because one studio deserves more shine than the other. No, but you're going up against what is already being called, Skullsy, a generational game. And as we know, Bethesda is known to do that. So I have two particular tweets here, and of course, I just want to give you the who exactly this is. We have Swen Vincke. Now, obviously, he doesn't have his title down here, but he works at obviously Larien Studios. Now, I want to read the two specific tweets that are very important to the conversation. And of course, we'll get your hot take on this. This is what happened at Gamescom. It happened obviously yesterday. And they go on to say this: super happy to confirm that after meeting with Phil Spencer yesterday, we have found a solution that allows us to bring Baldur's Gate 3 to Xbox players this year. Something we've been working towards for quite some time. Now, it also goes on to say, all improvements will be there with split screen co-op on the Xbox Series X. The Xbox Series S will not feature split screen co-op, but will also include cross-save progression between Steam and Xbox Series consoles. Split screen for the Series S is going to come in an update at a later date. Now, I know that there's going to be some people and go, look, you see, it's the Series S, but the problem is it's not that simple. If it were that simple, Larien would have never come out and said it wasn't the Series S. The problem or the issue at hand is they knew that they're a small team. It's a small company, okay? They had to get their bread and butter out first on the PC. Then they needed to have a team to release it on a console that was going to have a significant amount of player base. The PlayStation 5 is the larger player base, almost 3-1, Skullsy. So it makes sense that if you don't have a big team and you only have so many resources, well, what you're going to do is you're going to focus on a console platform that does not have a Bethesda game launching at the same time that you're going to put your game out. So you can get your CRPG on this platform for players that are going to look over who are not going to buy an Xbox and play Bethesda, which you're crazy if you're play Bethesda Starfield, and you're crazy if you're not, but you want to focus on this. So it makes perfect sense. So it's not technically the Series S. Yes. Is there some extra development that has to go into it? Sure. But if they would have put the resources and there was no behemoth known as Starfield, I'm sure they would have released equally. So, Skullsy, hearing this, and obviously I bring this up for two reasons. One, it is an interesting story, and it does debunk the Series S shenanigans, but you're also a video game developer working with a small team that only has a subset of resources. Now, your game that you're working on is only scheduled for PC because of the resources that the small team has. So I really want to get your hot take on this new development on a game that was originally expected to be delayed until next year. And speaking with Phil Spencer, and thanks to Destin Legary of IGN, who confirmed with on his IGN segment at Gamescom with Phil Spencer, that Microsoft, or specifically Xbox, has sent a team over to Larien to help finish, get this game across the finish line. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, so my take on this might be a little warm, maybe a little hot, because I think they're telling the truth, but I also think they're being a little political with it at the same time. At least from my perspective. First off, Baldur's Gate's one of those legendary franchises has been around for a very long time. I remember playing it like 15 years ago. And it's you know, it's not the type of RPG. My cat's sneezing in the background the very second I start talking.
Oh, that's okay.
He's quiet the whole time until but no, you know, it's a CRPG over the top. It definitely a lot more depth to it, and that's one reason why I think a lot of people are looking and at Baldur's Gate 3 is this like breath of fresh air, right? Because a lot of the RPGs have been more watered down recently to a certain extent. So I think people are excited for it for that reason. I'm excited for it. I haven't played it because I'm trying to keep my palate clean for Starfield, so I don't have to abandon the game to start up Starfield when it comes out. But to get back to the entire situation with the delay or the anticipated delay for Xbox and everything, I think what my opinion is this: I think they knew when Starfield was going to come out, you know, for a while now, same as everyone else back when the original delay was announced. So they would have taken into consideration their launch time way back when Starfield was delayed. Excuse me for one moment. So I think what happened was they kind of had as a plan B for at least the Xbox version of Baldur's Gate 3 to not be a focused development for that reason, because they knew Starfield was going to come out. It's an Xbox centric platform. So if they wanted to rush a port out, it would be the PlayStation one. And rush out might not be the right terminology. It might just be like their focus is on this. And while they're working on both, they know that the PlayStation is where their core audience is. They know that they won't have to compete with Starfield, at least during that launch window on the PlayStation platform on the PS5. So I think what might have happened is a while ago they decided at some point, maybe 6 months ago, I don't know when, they decided, hey, we need to push the PlayStation version so it can release on time, and maybe we'll hold off just a little bit on the Xbox Series S version, because this isn't the first time we've heard of the Xbox Series S be accused of holding something back, and 90% of it is that, you know, the opposite side of the fence, the console war people trying to just blame Xbox for making what they would call an inferior console. But at the end of the day, technically that's what the Xbox Series S is. It's not inferior in terms of an insult. It's inferior in terms of technical capability when compared to the Series X. The X is going to be able to do a plethora of things the S can't do. So if you do want to release your game on both platforms from a developer, you will have to take some cuts, at least if you don't just make the entire game not have X, so it can release on both platforms at the same time. You're going to cut something, an element, a gameplay mechanic, less graphics, whatever, RTX, whatever it is. You're going to cut something so it can release on the S. Now, with that in mind, do I think that the S's limitations would have been complicated enough to where you'd have to delay the Xbox version of Baldur's Gate 3 just for like split screen or co-op or something? I don't necessarily think so. I mean, yes, it might be harder to optimize the game on the Series S to have those gameplay mechanics, but really, I would think they could get it to a state to where it would be passable and then patchable in a week or something later, or 2 weeks. But you know, I don't know their development situation. To me, it seems like there's just a little bit more going on here. As much as I love Xbox and as much as I trust the developers, I still think that they are at least playing a little political here with their statement, because for the S to be launching now on time, but suddenly it's lacking a couple features, to me, I just can't completely ignore that as a developer. To me, that says that something technically had to be sacrificed. But like I said, that's just me talking outside. I really don't know. That's just my ignorant opinion of their circumstance, right? So, but either way, we're gonna get the game. They're not gonna release it cutting the entire mechanics, right? They're gonna put everything they said would be in the game. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, it's not like you said. It's not a matter of is Bethesda Game Studios better. Is it a matter of is Starfield better? No, it's a matter that Starfield is it's an anomaly right now. It's going to be a major release in gaming, one of those generational releases. If you thought Skyrim was re-released, or at least had such a long lifespan, because even today Skyrim is still played, it's still getting updated in terms of many major mods. Starfield is going to be that times 10, if not times 100. So game developers are going to notice the giant, mysterious monster that has wandered into the ecosystem, regardless of how they feel about it. And so are the fans, and so is the entire industry. And Starfield is that monster that everyone is waiting to see what it's going to do next. But so far, everyone is saying it's a good monster, and I can't wait to experience the monster for myself. But no, that's my long-winded take, I guess, on the Baldur Gate 3 situation.
No, I mean, you from a developer's point of view, I'm happy that you did in fact clarify some things. And again, just for so for clarification, because folks, I'm always about numbers. Like, I'm a numbers guy. Larien Studios currently, as of this year, has 450 employees. So not small in the sense where there's like 16 people putting out a game. There's 450 people there. But at the same time, Baldur's Gate 3 is this monster RPG with this infinite amount of endings and different ways that you interact with the characters. And by the way, the gentleman that I had made mention that actually tweeted this was the founder, Swen, Vincke, or Vincke. Maybe that's how you pronounce it. Was the one that actually did the tweet, who actually met with Phil Spencer, just for clarification. So it's not just, some rando met with Phil Spencer and said, yeah, we're going to get the thing done. He's actually the founder of the company. And obviously he sat down with Phil. They worked it out. Phil's going to send help over there, as they do with many studios. And Baldur's Gate 3 at some point, maybe it's November, maybe it's December, and Scolzy, maybe, because Phil Spencer is who he is, and obviously they're trying to push Xbox Game Pass as the platform, maybe this becomes an Xbox Game Pass day and date release. That would be cool. See, at that point, I'm willing to try. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but I will give it the old college effort if I have time outside of Starfield, because I'm going to tell you this right now, and I'm going to say this publicly. I feel bad for every other game. Like, for me personally, I'm not buying another Xbox game, or pretty much outside of. I'm not buying a game outside of Mario Wonder, the new Sonic, and of course Spider-Man, which I already have pre-ordered. I bought a bunch of games and I'm not playing because I don't really want to invest in anything. I'm playing Vampire Survivor every day. Because it's quick. You get in, you unlock a 5-point achievement. You play for half an hour. You unlock something, a new weapon. I don't want to get into anything because Starfield is gonna steal my life. But
I'm like, I feel bad for games. I feel bad for my family. I feel like I'm being deployed. I'm like having to talk with my
oh
family.
my
Like, this is the
goodness,
last week. This is the
that's
last week,
hilarious.
7 days, and you're not going to see me again. We need
Oh
to watch
my
some
god,
movies.
yeah,
We need to
that's
finish
funny.
Boardwalk Empire before a week's up.
Oh my,
I'm
that's
cleaning
funny.
the house. Like, I'm going outside and trimming bushes that I have put off my to-do list for months, just because I want nothing on my mind. Starfield
Yes.
is a good thing for me in that regard, but also a bad thing, because when it comes out, everything is just gonna be gone. Like, I'm
Yeah,
joking. I'm still
it's
gonna see my family, but I'll see them as I
we know
walk.
you're being facetious. We know you love your family. Listen, real quick, before we get into Starfield and what Pete Hines and Phil Spencer had to say, I got to catch up on the super chats. And we got a super chat here that is just monstrous. You don't get many of these, and I don't ever feel that I'm worthy of such a gift. But we're gonna get to it. First of all, the first super chat of the day comes away before we were even live, before Scolzy was even here. Nightwolf 3186 drops an outstanding $10 super chat and says, "Hey, Boom and panel. Hope everyone is getting hyped for Starfield. Speaking of hype, was at a family trivia at a local sports bar, and I swear I must have seen 5 ads for Starfield. Love it. That's awesome. I get a lot of messages from people saying that before, like when they're watching on YouTube, if they don't have YouTube Premium, they before, like a lot of these shows, they're getting the ads for Starfield, which I think is amazing. Our good friend Sith Lord drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Did you see early copies are going for 100 to 600 early copies?" I guess
Yeah,
they're out
people are like
there.
taking them from GameStop and stuff. GameStop gets the shipment early, and they're not supposed to put them out, but either people steal them,
Uh,
or someone
the
sells them, or
thievery is
something.
just nauseating.
Corrupt
Listen, folks.
manager.
I mean, I think it's going live if you're on the East Coast, at least from what Hargeet said last night on Primetime Gaming. Which, by the way, we had what a laugh riot time. We had a lot of fun yesterday. Everborn Saga throwing poor Kayasante under the bus about his Double Dragon addiction. Live on the air, folks. It was hilarious. If I think it's 8 p.m. Eastern, if I'm not mistaken, rather than midnight, which is going to be great because I'm going to get at least 5 hours. We're going to have that Friday morning, we're going to have a Starfield launch special, breakfast with Boom. So obviously, we want everyone to come by and give us your stories of where you are and what you found so far, how many hours you spent in the character creation. I hear people say, "I'm going to spend 10 hours in that because I want it to look like me." I'm gonna really try to make it look like a Mr. Boomstick, but a virtual one. But
That's always
real
my
quick,
problem, man. I
yeah,
just I
it's gonna
too much
be.
time.
This is the game. If there's one game, Skullsy, that you're going to really like take your time and put the effort into making, because that's what you're doing. You're making a virtual you. You want this to be you because you're going to be able to tell your friends, "This is my story. This is what I found. This is where I am. This is what faction. This is what side story I
Yeah,
did when I
I
found
want
this
to see.
armor."
I want to see me in photo mode with the stars behind me holding the
Dude,
cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's gonna take some time. Hopefully, some of their pre renders are like close, where I don't got to do cheekbones and earlobe sizes. I don't know if I want to do all of that, but I'm gonna give it the old college effort for sure. Hopefully, they at least have a mohawk one that's not all the way back with spikes, because that's
I always
usually
do the
what you get.
mohawk too. Always give
Crazy.
myself a mohawk and a beard now since
Uh,
I have one in real life.
Um, we have a very generous member of the chat that dropped Skolzy a $100 super chat, which is just crazy. So, Scott Gamer Dude, brother, thank you for the outstanding and ridiculous generosity. He goes on to say this: "I was at work today, happened to be talking about Starfield. Some random guy chimed in about waiting. He said he had some friend doing a review and was told it's not playable. If it is a real reviewer, not supposed to even talk about it. Uh, uh, to talk about it yet. Annoying, full as he said the guy was annoying, full of S dude. Yeah, I mean, I
People
maybe
just
they
want to hate
have it.
on things.
Maybe they don't. Maybe somebody's just being, just a jerk. Don't pay them any attention, brother. We got 7 days to go, and we're gonna every one of us gonna be all in on this.
7 days. It's like the ring, but Todd Howard will crawl out of your TV.
Oh
He'll
God,
drag you into
it's
Starfield.
let him take me away, please. This world sucks. We have Black Sausage drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, "Welcome back, Skullsy. What specs are you running for Starfield?" He's currently rocking a 7900X and a 3090 Ti with a 64 gigabits of DDR5 RAM. Hopefully that's enough. So hyped. Are you playing this on PC, or you're going to play this on Xbox, Skulls?
I'm doing PC. I'm mostly a PC guy. Let me check. I forgot my exact processor, but I could look up my details here real quick.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
go
I,
ahead.
I know that okay, so I have an i9 1090K. So that's my processor. It's pretty
Okay.
good. I built this like I think a year or so ago. My GPU is a RTX 2080 Ti, but it's not a regular one. It's some rare like super one that EVGA sent me because my first standard 2080 Ti died in the first two
Oh,
months. I RMA'd it. They sent me another replacement. It was dead out of the box. They sent another one. It was dead out of the box. I'm like, can I please get one that works? So they sent me an upgraded card, and this is like some rare, like only 80 of them were made. And it gets like 30, 80 stats. So I don't think I need to upgrade for Starfield. At least I know I'm not planning on it. So fingers crossed, it'll be able to do all the bells and whistles and shinies and 4K goodness that Starfield has to offer. So I'm a little annoyed that DLSS, whatever those letters are, all the S's, isn't in Starfield.
DLSS, yeah.
But you know, it'll get modded in at some point. And I'm hearing conflicting reports that the FSR or whatever it is, the opposing force, the OP4, if you will, over there in Graphics Card Town, that it can still run DLSS anyway. So I don't know, but either way, if you have a good computer, you'll be fine. If you don't, the game will probably offer enough content for you anyway that, you know, turning the graphics down won't kill you. But those are my stats. I think I have like 32 gigabytes of RAM or something. I don't know how much GRAM or anything. It's a good computer. I should be all right.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm playing on Xbox Series X because I don't have a PC that could run it, and I wouldn't play on PC anyway because I have a very nice TV, which I'm going to upgrade this year. Samsung just released a new TV. It has the Xbox Hub. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's actually outdueling the LG because I'm not an LG fan. I know a lot of people love those TVs. I'm not. I'm a Samsung guy.
I just got a new Samsung, so.
Oh, nice. The only thing that this TV doesn't have is Dolby Vision, and I know that's a big deal for some people. But the way that Samsung, they have a new tech, it's getting 5 out of 5 stars. So I don't have the exact number of the TV, but I think I'm going to treat myself this year by the end of the year. This TV is from 2019, and it's old, man. It's not old in the sense like I'm old, but it's old enough where I need a new TV to appreciate all of these, like something like a Starfield, and we'll talk about that in a second. But listen, I'll catch up on the rest of the super chats momentarily. I got to talk about Pete Hines here. Pete Hines has over 160 hours in the game. That is minuscule to who's been playing in Phil Spencer. But what he said is that in the 160-hour playthrough he is currently involved in, Skullsy, he hasn't even, by his words, cracked open what this game ultimately is. And that is saying something. Like, he talked about specifically staying away from certain quests because he doesn't want to see how they pan out. And he finds himself going here, then everywhere. See, that's how I'm going to play. I talked about this before, folks. Please, if you throw a tomato at me if you're bored. I'm gonna have where I need to go, Skullsy. I don't know if this is how you play Bethesda games, but how I play them is I look on the map or I have a pointed out direction that I know I have to go in. But if something to the right or something to the left is going to be shiny, and I'm gonna be like, whoa, and I'm gonna start walking towards that way, and I'm gonna get there, and it's a base, and I find a new weapon. Kill a bunch of bad guys. Hopefully they're pirates because that's going to be my thing. I'm going to be a pirate hunter. And from there, I know that all I have to do is turn around and go back the same way. And then, boop, this is where I got to go. But I am going to look over the horizon and say, well, when I was jetpacking and throwing grenades here, there, and everywhere, I saw something, down yonder. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. You know, somebody asked Pete Hines on Twitter, and that's what I got to give credit. I got to give credit to Pete Hines. Got to give credit to Phil Spencer, Todd Howard, and just about anyone that's been working at Bethesda that can in fact answer these questions. They've been answering the questions, even like randos. Like, hey, one of the ones that I read that I thought was interesting was, hey, Pete, what if I don't want to leave this planet for like the first 20 hours? Am I going to have enough to do? And he says, you're going to have infinite things to do. So you want to spend the first 20 hours of this game on a planet that you found, go ham, because you're going to find something new around every corner. And we have learned, which I think we haven't talked in a while. I know there was a lot of talk. Oh my God, there's no vehicles in the game. What are we going to do? This jetpack is upgradable. it is basically going to be, it's going to be your vehicle on your back, and I absolutely love that. But let's get your thought and theory of Pete Hines specifically talking about this during the interview, that he has over 160 hours in this game, and he has yet to even crack open what this game ultimately is, dude.
That is why nothing gets me hyped for a game usually as much as a Bethesda Game Studios release, because very few games can be said about and be completely true, in a sense that there's much more even beyond that amount of hours. I generally don't even touch the main story or finish it like within the first 200 hours, like of Skyrim or Fallout 4, for example. Fallout 4 was worse because I just kept building freaking settlements and playing SimCity in the post-apocalyptic wasteland. Starfield is going to be no different. And Starfield is perfect for me because the way I usually start a Bethesda game, like Fallout 4, for example, is it has the grid on the map, which is perfect. You know, search the area by grid. Start at the top of the grid, zigzag, search the whole grid, which works for Fallout and Bethesda games because they do put rare items just sitting in a bush somewhere. Like, and if you don't go looking in that bush, you won't find it. So that's I'm a completionist. I like to collect all the things. I'm a Bethesda hoarder in all their games. Any item I can find that's collectible, I have one of it. It will probably be no different in Starfield. And Pete Hines saying that you can spend so much time on one planet, to me, is amazing because, like probably everyone else that plays Bethesda games, you start the game with a plan in mind, right? You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live a life in this town. I'm going to focus on this quest. But what happens? You see the shiny thing on the distance, or a dog runs up and talks to you, and then chase it, and then you follow it down the pathway. Now you're on a quest. Bethesda games have this capability of drawing you off the path you're on onto yet another adventure. And then here you are 2 hours later on top of a mountain drinking mead to stay warm, trying to hunt a vampire when you were just collecting garlic.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so Starfield is gonna kind of take that, and that's always gonna be part of the game, right? But for people like me that like to do everything, which I am gonna go to every planet in my first playthrough. That's my goal, right? Which is something I'll get into in another minute. But Starfield is good for people like me because when we want to do everything and we want to explore in like a OCD style manner, you can spend a lot of time on that one planet, right? You'll know I'm on this planet for now, but at the same time on that planet you can still see things that can sidetrack you, but at the end of the day you're still focusing on surveying and completing that planet, which is perfect. So it has every potential gameplay loop that anyone could have. If you're someone that wants to spend a lot of time in space, boom, go up there. There's tons of content there for you. If you want to stay on one planet, if you're a homebody, there you go. If you get bored on that one planet, there's another 900 for you. Pick one to stay on for a while. I just can't wait to get lost in this game. And to wrap up at least this Starfield ramble that I did give you a warning about at the beginning. Starfield is unique because Bethesda Game Studios games have a lot of replayability, and that's not even getting into the whole modding jungle, right? But at the end of the day, Bethesda Game Studios games, well, there is radiant AI in terms of general quests that can happen. All the handcrafted content is set in stone in Skyrim, right? When you do every side quest, when you do every main quest, when you do every faction quest, you've done it. And when you replay the game, well, there's different choices and avenues you can take. You know what the quests are called. You know what they're going to be. You know how to trigger them. Starfield will have that. But as we saw from that giant gameplay showcase, a lot of these planets that do have handcrafted content, that handcrafted content will vary from playthrough to playthrough. So I can go to Nirvana AB, a barren planet, right, and go to the northern hemisphere, the North Pole. On my world, there is an abandoned mining settlement there that doesn't have a quest, but I can get a bunch of material and resources. But in your game, there's a quest there, a radiant quest. That type of replayability potential is going to make Starfield insane, especially when you take into consideration the already built-in handcrafted replay potential based on your traits that you choose, what factions you choose to align with, what planets you go to first, however you manage to tackle the constellation quest. So Starfield, like I said at the beginning of this thing, is going to be a game that's going to last for a very, very long time, just based on one playthrough. And then when you take into consideration all the other playthroughs you have with varying content that's still handcrafted, and then finally, at the end of the day, when you're 2,000 hours deep and you played the game 5 times, mods. This game's gonna be out there for a long time, and I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that makes two of us, dude. I am all in on everything that they're going to be bringing to this. But listen, I want to bring Phil Spencer into the conversation. Obviously, the head of Microsoft Gaming. Folks, we know he's a gamer, right? I mean, through and through, he's a gamer. All he did was talk about what he's playing on his ROG Ally while he's out at Cologne, Germany, attending Gamescom. But he said in an interview, folks, that he has played 15 different runs. He's in his 15th run of Starfield. Like, now he didn't specifically Skolzy break down the how many hours per playthrough, but it's Phil Spencer, and obviously 15 playthroughs. I mean, does that equate 1,000 hours? Does that equate to 1,200, 1,500 hours? Because Pete Hines got 160 in just one playthrough. Well, I mean, I'm no mathematician by any stretch of the truth, but let's just say for shits and giggles, Skolzy, that he did play for 100 hours each only per run.
I mean, it's possible. He didn't say the timeline. This could be
Right.
throughout development.
That would be 1,500 hours. Just lowballing it at 100. This is, he said something during another interview, and we talked about this in the green room. Is anyone, and this question goes out to the chat, and I'd kind of like you to throw an answer in there. Like right now, the confidence level that Phil Spencer has in the brand is unlike anything that we've seen in a very, very, very long time. There's something to be said, folks. And again, I don't review a lot of games. I have reviewed quite a few, but there is something to be said about taking your game and giving it to influencers and reviewers of every size, shape, and follow length through almost 3 weeks before the game actually releases. So when you see that happen, Skolzy, I think it's safe to say that they are confident that this is going to be something extremely special. And that's actually what Phil Spencer said. He used the word special. And Wandering Dutch, our very good friend and brethren on Primetime Gaming, is out there with Boxenberger and Xbox Mike and Gaz and a whole bunch of other incredible content creators. And I bring Wandering Dutch up because he said that when he came out of the theater that they have set up, it's 300 people to show Starfield's gameplay. Because he's not under embargo. He watched the theater. Everyone's talking about it. What he kept saying is the lighting is next gen. The combat is next gen. The gunplay from moment to moment is next gen. He actually said it is the true first next generation game. And then when we finally see this game in full for ourselves, we're not going to believe what we're saying. So that's when you go and you hear Phil Spencer out there, who of course he's a company guy. Of course he's going to say good things about his game. But I never really pegged Phil Spencer to be a rah-rah guy for no reason. He gets excited because he's a gamer. And he said something, Skolzy, that got me very excited. Now, we look back to Xbox and E3 or post E3 of 2018. And, we had a bunch of studios that were announced. We got a lot of promises on hardware. You fast forward a couple of years, Bethesda gets purchased. We get some promises on hardware. And here we are. We're in 2023. We're coming up in November as the third year of the console. A lot of people have been asking. I haven't seen anything that this console really makes me say, "Wow." And this is it. According to Phil Spencer, the jumping off point for Xbox first party moving forward. And it's going to be Starfield to start it, and then we're going to be blown away each and every time. Hellblade, Motorsport, you just keep putting them out there. Avowed, it's going to be one banger, quote unquote, after another. When you hear that, I know your confidence and your excitement is through the roof already with Starfield, but when you hear the head of Microsoft Gaming saying that this is indeed something incredibly special, what are your thoughts on that, dude?
I love Phil Spencer because, like you said, he's not just a hype man. He doesn't just, wake up in the morning, put on his cheerleader's outfit with a frown. Like all of his hype is natural, right? And the cool thing about him is even though he's in the position he's in up there as an exec on with Xbox, he's still kind of one of us. So if he gets hyped about something, it's kind of the same stuff we would get hyped about. And he knows things. So he wouldn't get hyped about something like we would if he knew bad things. His hype is extremely genuine, especially considering Starfield and everything in the future to come. I've been saying two things for a while, which touches on the point of this topic here. The first thing is I've been saying, we're not only at the very early stages of a golden age for Bethesda Game Studios, but as gaming as a whole. We're going to be seeing some monsters come out and just be insane. But also, one thing I was saying about this particular generation of gaming, the Xbox Series and the PS5, is I felt like this might not be the best example to use here, but I can't word it in any other way. I felt like this generation was born a little bit prematurely, right? I feel like the consoles maybe should have baked in the oven for another year or so because, well, we did get some bangers since we've been in this generation for a while. I like everyone else. I feel like we just haven't hit the amount of separation of quality and gameplay mechanics that you would see from previous jumps in gameplay in gaming technology generation increases. So Starfield, I think, is going to be that because we haven't really seen a true current gen or next gen, I guess, whatever you want to call it, from Bethesda Game Studios. Starfield is going to be that. And I think it's going to also, if developers aren't working on something that's going to push the limit, Starfield is going to lift that bar way up there now in many ways because the game looks great. And it's not running with it's not running with ray tracing. It's global illumination. So they're not using the brand new bells and whistles that they could be using. And it's still, it looks amazing. And there's a good reason they're doing that too, because it makes it more accessible on consoles and at the same time more accessible in modding. So we are just at, like, the hype for Starfield is insane right now, but this hype is gonna taper and then go back up with each new game that's gonna come out over the next couple of years, and I'm super excited for it. Phil Spencer, he knows more than we do, and if he's excited, I say we should be excited. So, yeah.
Yeah, what could you say? We're on the cusp of what some people would consider like video game magic. And I know there's gonna be people out there like, well, yeah, boom, it's just another Bethesda game. I mean, listen, if you can't get hype for this game, I'm not gonna sell it to you. I'm not getting a dime. I'm just a fan. I'm here to talk about Xbox, and I don't know what to tell you. I think that what we have seen because I mean, like, how many people here? And then there's a couple of people that have watched it over 50 times. I have watched the direct for Starfield 25 times. Like, a
Yeah, I
lot of the
lost
times
count.
I'm watching it like when I'm playing in the background of one of the shows, and I'm watching it with everyone else as I'm podcasting. But like, physically, I've sat down in the couch and be like, I could be watching something else, but I really want to see this. And every time, Skullsy, that I have sat down to do that, I noticed something different. Um, what about you? Are you like in the same like mindset? Like when you watch it, you said you've lost count.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday twice, so I'm gonna watch it again today. I'll probably watch it every day up until release. But no, I pause it like every 20 seconds to look at the UI, to look at what is this planet, what resources are on it, and I'm seeing the the chemical names for things like what is Cl3H25 or something. That doesn't really exist, but and I'm googling the chemical element combinations to see what stuff is and learning about new stuff in the game and like, oh, this is a transition metal and it could be used for this. And I'm like, oh wow, so that's going to be in Starfield. I'm going to need to keep that in mind. And yeah, I'm noticing something every single time I watch it, even though I've probably watched it probably about as many times as you. I don't know, I definitely lost count. And it's great because to be honest, if Bethesda released another gameplay trailer right now in engine, I'd really want to watch it, but honestly, I might not because I'm at the point now to where I don't want to see anything else. I just want to rewatch the stuff we've already seen,
Yeah.
because I want as much new stuff and new discoveries as possible when I play the game. Because that's what they keep saying Starfield is all about. It's your adventure, but it's also about the
Yes.
discoveries you make, and a lot of these will be unique to you because of some of the background procedural generation stuff on some of the barren planets out there. So yeah, when I say that, I do want to clarify. There's going to be much more handcrafted content than we've seen from Bethesda Game Studios. The procedural stuff is still handcrafted. It's just used to bake in some content on like maybe 300. I don't know how many of the planets that really don't have a purpose other than you just feel like exploring today. So no, I'm super. I forget now. Here I am rambling on, and I've lost track of
No, no,
my
no. Listen, this
original
is
point.
people dig it. This is we're two guys hanging out with a bunch of. First of all, I don't even know how many people here. Let me take a quick look. Wow, we have almost 600 people here. So everyone is excited. Obviously, this is one of the smaller shows that I do weekly. To have this many people, obviously, we sold this as a Starfield game. You know what? Before you continue to ramble, because I love it. I love this kind of by the seat of your pants conversation because it's real. I gotta ask you two questions, and I know we're running into like what are we like almost 50 minutes in. We still got about 30 minutes to go. I have two questions for you, Sculzy, that I probably should have opened up with. Um, what were your thoughts on the live action trailer? Like, did it give you goosebumps the same way it did for me? And more importantly, what we'll follow that up with is what are your modern expectations for iconic spaceships? Let's cover this one of a kind launch trailer, this live action launch trailer. What were your thoughts on that, dude?
So that was, one of the things a lot of people thought would happen. Bethesda has a habit of doing a live action trailer, usually towards the end of their stuff. So I was expecting one, and I thought it was beautiful, because one thing I hope Starfield has is that emotional connection because it's really immersive, right? That draws that magnifies the immersion level times 100. And Fallout had some of that good emotional connection for me in terms of like your son. Some people didn't like that. I like the element of having your son in the game and something a little bit more emotional. Maybe not my third playthrough. I got a little burnt out on it. But no, it definitely gave me goosebumps, the Starfield live action trailer. And at the same time, it kind of sets the vibe for where we are now because we are technically awaiting launch on our adventures, right? The live action trailer showed somebody walking to their ship, getting ready to launch. The child with all the imaginations and possibilities in her eyes. Like, it was beautiful. I wasn't expecting it the day we got it. I was kind of expecting another trailer kind of like that, but no, I'm glad we got it. And now I know I think that's going to be the last thing we see from Bethesda, minus any Gamescom stuff that there is to talk about up until the game comes out. I thought it was a perfect idea for Bethesda to do. Great vibes. Definitely got goosebumps. I get goosebumps just by watching the stupid Starfield Direct. So like I guess I'm pretty sensitive to the Starfield the Starfield hype, but no, I liked it. To answer the first question, and what was the second question again? Because here I am rambling and getting caught up.
Well, no. We're going to get to that in a second because the second one is you're a PC guy, and this makes sense to you. Doesn't make sense to me, and I know that in the past when you activate mods, it somehow you can't get achievements. So I don't necessarily know if I'm going to do that, but let me speak on my thoughts on this. And you know what? Let's get the chat involved here. Let's have some fun, folks. I got some super chats we're going to get into. We'll catch up all of them as well. The Welsh Gamer in the chat, my very good brother. If you don't know who the Welsh Gamer is, you're missing out because he helped me launch years ago when it was just me and him. It was just two guys. We like, what are we going to do to celebrate Xbox? And that's where I came up with the Xbox Factor podcast, which of course you saw as the opening, with what a dummy. Like it's been a day, folks. It's been a day. But he helped me launch the Xbox Factor podcast 5 years ago. Welsh, I don't know. It's been a minute. And obviously he comes on usually he comes on for like the big shows. He was just on with the huge panel for the June show. Shout out to my brother. We'll get to his super chat momentarily. So, folks, obviously, we're all about interaction, right? We're all about getting your opinion, and I want people to be honest. Like, if it didn't move you, that's fine. Not everything works. For me, I got goosebumps. I've watched that opening a dozen times already. Opening the trailer. In the chat right now, 1 to 10. What do you give this Bethesda commercial? Because for me, it's 10. Like, I see that, Skullsy, and I'm like, we need a Starfield show. We need a Starfield film. We need something. Because and again, I'm not talking about it today, but they did show some footage from Fallout, the TV series, and they said it was really, really good. Like, this is what probably Halo should have been, but that's fine. Maybe they'll reboot Halo and get rid of Master Cheeks. I don't know, but they said it's really good. After seeing this commercial, like, I think that we have to get a show of some point. Okay, so Johnny Ravioli gives it a 9 strong. OCD Gamer 10. MJ a 10. A fan 10. Sean Johnson a 10. Whole grain bread 10 out of 10. A lot of 10s here. Leonard Herrera 9. Andrew Green a 9. Game Shark a 10. Let's see. The Dusty Uno, our very good brother, he gives it an 11.5. I love it. Abdel 114 9 out of 10. Let's see. Let me go down to the bottom because now people are starting to. Okay. Steve Fresh 2180 gives it a 6. Okay, don't throw tomatoes. That's his opinion. He's allowed to have it. M. McCouth gives it a 10. Giggity 08 gives it a 10. Paneros is like, Halo was good. Stop the hate. I mean, it was good. It just wasn't great. I wish it was better. I liked it. I watched it twice. I just don't like the helmet off thing. Like, we don't need to see his face. His face, if you read the books, is pasty and white. And that's because he never takes off his freaking helmet. Keep the helmet on. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see. The Welsh Gamer. Thanks for the kind words, Boom and chat. Love you all. Well, we love you too very much, brother. I'm glad that you and the family are doing well. Okay, so most people really enjoyed it. For me, I think that it does kind of throw its stake in the ground, that this happened to open the show for Jeff Keighley, and again, it opened the show, folks. It's a big deal. I wasn't expecting this. I know you said that you were, Skullsy, which is awesome. I personally, I had no idea we were going to get a live action commercial, and we got one. And the last time that I saw something that was this bombastic, at least for me personally as a gamer, was the Titanfall one back in I think it was late 2013 or early 2014 when Titanfall launched as an Xbox One exclusive. And that trailer was dope. Like, the robots knocking on the glass to the guy to jump out of his office. He jumps into the Titan, and
I never played it, but I always wish I did.
Dope.
I love Mech Warrior and BattleTech, so I just Never got around to playing it. I got a friend named
Uh,
Panda. He loves it, man. And he tells me stories about multiplayer, how he runs on walls and jumps on it. I'm like, man, why did I
it's
never play this game?
probably one of my favorite games, like if not the favorite game of last gen. Like honestly, for me, I'm a Titanfall dude, and I'm devastated that that a third one hasn't been made yet. But let's move on to the second question, Skulzy, and that is the modder expectations for iconic ships. Now, there was a tweet that someone put out there that someone, I don't know what modder it was, made a Millennium Falcon based on the tech that is used for the ships already in Starfield. So it's not a one-to-one, but if you are a Star Wars fan, it looked like a Millennium Falcon version of a Starfield ship. Um, from a PC mindset, because that's where you come from, how big is the modding community going to be with this game? I mean, you're laughing, and I know that what you're going to say is what I'm thinking, but I still want to hear it from you.
So tonight, I don't know what time zone you're in, but when it gets night outside and a clear night and you can see the stars, go outside and look up. And that's basically how big the modding potential. So for a good example I'll give is, so Fallout 4, you know how you can build settlements, right? There's probably about 100 mods for Fallout 4, to where they just give you additional shapes to build with for buildings, additional textures. It's going to be that for ships. So someone was able to build a Millennium Falcon now using whatever they were able to make, and it's not one-to-one. Through mods, there it will be possible for a one-to-one Millennium Falcon. And any other ship you can think of, the Firefly, from any ship.
Yes.
And then not only that, but when you have all these mods combined, you can then make a ship with any component from any one of these mods. So yes, just on the ships alone, the modding potential for Starfield is huge. And a cool thing I think we're going to see, at least I hope, with Starfield modding is the introduction of a lot of new modders in the community. I know myself, I plan on making a pirate radio station mod for Starfield. So I'm going to dabble in the modding myself. And I think that we might see some of these ships just get uploaded, like to modding sites, to where you can just download the ship and all of its parts, and then you can then have your Millennium Falcon or your X-Wing fighter or your Firefly, and then you can take it and make it your own from there and upgrade it and get crew to walk around and fly it with you. So it's just going to be insane. Anyone with any type of sci-fi, adventure, fantasy, space adventure, fantasy, this game's going to nail it for you. And then even if you're like absolute Star Wars fanatic where you only like Star Wars, give it a year and you'll be able to play Star Wars with mods in the game. So, that's the thing. This game has so much just with how it is now. We're hearing from people playing the game, telling us how it's great, with what little they can tell us. The mods aren't even out yet. and they're going to continue to come out year after year and get bigger and badder. 10 years from now, Starfield is probably going to be a beast that level. Like if Starfield was a Pokemon, 10 years from now would be like one of those rare god Pokemon that the player can never get, but you hear about in the lore and it destroys everything. And there's like stories about it. I can't wait, man. I'm so hyped.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested, and let me ask you, because I don't know. I have heard people in the chat. I've heard people talk online that normally with a Bethesda game, because you can have mods, that modding disables achievements.
That depends on the platform.
It does. Okay.
Yeah, so with Xbox as a console, it might, depending on the mod, right? So, Bethesda has
just for like so much a ship mod rather than I'm God and I have unlimited ammo and I can do whatever I want, like God mode kind of a thing. I wouldn't do it for that.
No, that's what I'm hoping is Bethesda would not have those types of mods, like just you're downloading a ship blueprint, be disable achievements, right? Because at first on consoles it was that mods would straight up just disable them, but then as it evolved over time and Bethesda built in like Creation Club content and official mods and stuff as DLC, stuff won't disable all mods. But if you're a PC player like on Steam, I don't think it matters at all. You could install a mod to where your player can look at someone and just flick them into space, and you'll still get achievements, which is a little, exploitative. But at the point, like, if you're playing the game for achievements, you wouldn't do that, right? So you have some more leeway. And worst case, if something did disable mods on PC, people usually will make like script extenders, which will then re-enable the mods or the achievements through mods. So basically, all you really need to worry about it on console. We're a little too early to tell how Bethesda is going to handle that per se. I would hope they'd have some kind of baked in like system, like a UI or something for specific blueprints for ships, at least using the in-game components and structures, so this player didn't download anything to make the ship look different or be more powerful. They just built this ship using what's available to them.
Basically, like a skin, if you would,
Yeah, like a blueprint, right? You just download it and there it is, and then you now have it in your game, so you can repair your ship to look like that again or upgrade it. There's a game that I've been playing a long time over the last year in preparation for Starfield called Empyrean Galactic Survival, which honestly is the indie version of Starfield. It does everything Starfield does to a certain degree. It's just not as in-depth, but it's a great game. And you can download ship blueprints using the stuff, and then what happens is you download the blueprint and you save it as the set blueprint. So from that point forward, if you do upgrade that ship, you can repair it to your upgraded version of the blueprint. Rather than just what you had when you started it. So there's a lot of questions I have with how Starfield is going to handle that per se, because this is the perfect opportunity, because Bethesda games are known for their great modding communities. This is a great opportunity to even expand upon that and give it some more functionality and some more like systematic built-in stuff with blueprints for ships. And not only that, but also outpost buildings or even entire bases, right? Because some people might want to use the base building mechanic, but they may not feel creatively confident enough to do it. They may not want to have the time to learn how to do it, so they'd rather just download the blueprint, right, that someone made that looks cool. People do that for Empyrean. I hope we can see stuff like that in Starfield.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, I'm super stoked to see what the modding community does. I'm hoping for some version, or maybe even a 1-to-1 of something like Boba Fett's ship. Like, for instance, that's something, because I'm going to be a bounty hunter. That's the class I'm going to pick. I originally was going Ronin to bring honor and integrity back to the universe, but I have now changed because bounty hunter is like something I'm going to do, and I'm going to hunt pirates. That's what I'm going to do. And Phil Spencer, by the way, is a pirate. Did you know that? He is stealing sandwiches left, right, and center.
It's always the nice guys that are.
So I'm going to be a bounty hunter. I'm going to hunt pirates. I'm going to look for trouble, and I'm going to make a lot of money of bringing in these bad guys, dead or alive. Hopefully, you just got to kill them. You're actually going to capture them.
I'm going to be kind of the middle road, right? So I'm going to be a ex-chef because I used to be a chef. Why not? Why not do it? I'm going to have kid stuff so I can have my parents to visit and take care of, because that's wholesome and sounds nice. And my guy's going to generally be a good guy, but he's going to look for some opportunities for, some profit, right? He might smuggle Aurora once in a while. If he sees like a ship that might be piloted by some jerks who deserve it, he might pirate them. But he's not going to, go around and take out innocents. But he's going to try to walk the line.
Who's basically going to steal everything that's not nailed down. And my brother's basically said, Neo Mental said he's going to not only jack ships, but he's going to steal and save and collect sandwiches, which is not.
I mean, I'm already going to collect everything. Sandwiches will be in that list. So
I love it. Listen, let me catch up on these super chats, and then we'll do some outros, folks. So again, this is one of the rather smaller shows, 70 minutes in and out. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough that if you're finding the channel for the first time, you consider subscribing. And of course, while you're here, if you're already subbed, you can do two things. And again, only if you want to. One, hit the like button, super easy. It doesn't cost anything. You hit the like button. And if you're feeling generous and you want to help us grow, because we're on the hunt for 14K, you can share this out on social media of your choice and maybe get some new viewers to check out the show. Dragon Knight 77 drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, we are eating good and we haven't even had Gear 6 yet. Yeah, Xbox gamers have a lot to get excited about. I think we are on the cusp of being able to confidently say this is the Xbox that you have honestly been waiting for. Highlander 001 drops not one but two super chats. Oh, you know what? You're absolutely right, dude. Hold on a sec. I did miss Highlander's super chat from last night. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I had it. Let me pull it up from last night because I get really angry at myself when I miss it because obviously nobody owes me a penny. Give me a second. Let me go to my YouTube channel and let me just bring it up, brother. Give me one hot second. Yeah, it came in a little bit late last night. Yes, I got it, brother. He dropped a very generous $2 super chat last night on Primetime Gaming. And he said, I have no idea what is coming to the PlayStation 5 next year. Well, you know what? You and Sony have no idea what is coming to the PlayStation 5. So that makes us as fans even less privy to what's going on because Sony isn't telling us. And that's probably because Highlander, Sony, they ain't got shit. They probably don't have anything. You'll be lucky to get a first party game. And it could be very well one of their gas games that is going to ultimately fail. So today he dropped not one but two $5 super chats. And the first one, he says, you missed my super chat last night. No biggie. Thank you for that, sir. One of my best friend's buddies got his collector's edition this morning. What? Are you freaking kidding me?
I know his address for research.
Yeah, please.
Purposes.
Hello. We have to go talk to this young man. Congratulations on getting it early. I hope that he's playing because they're not going to ban your account. If you got it early, you got it early. That's awesome, dude. And he says, and he ordered it from Bethesda store. What? Wow. So that's crazy. So Bethesda broke the street date by a week.
Can I send Bethesda some money for them to send me a code now?
Good on you, man. Good on you. Highlander's second $5 super chat says, my bud is going to want to play it so he does not ruin it for his friends. I'm so jealous. I got mine at Best Buy, so I'll get mine next week. Yeah, I got mine from GameStop. And I have my confirmation that they've already processed my payment, so it's coming. I'm not gonna, get a banana in a tailpipe situation. Drawn TJ drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, I own Samsung and LG. LG's OLED is better than Samsung's TV. Sorry, Boom, but the color and the gaming features on the LG OLEDs are way better. You can get 4K 150 frames on Forza. Yeah, I can get 150 frames on a new TV that I'm getting as well. And plus it has the Xbox Game Pass hub. And it's rated 5 out of 5 on Tom's Guide and a ton of other places. The TV literally just came out, so that's what I'm going to go with. I don't like LGs at all, so I'll just miss out on Dolby Vision, which is fine. It has all the other bells and whistles. Plus, they're partnered with Microsoft and Xbox, so I'm okay with that. The Welsh Gamer drops a very generous £10 super chat and says, it's not only exciting, but kind of crazy to see just how inflated Phil Spencer's chest is. He's not only confident in Starfield, but he also knows what Xbox Game Studios has in the works for the future. Exciting times in all caps. Absolutely, brother. Voidlock drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Tekken 8 ran from Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter 6 for the best fighting game of the year. If you're a fighting game fan, and I am, there's a lot to play. There is really a lot to play. And Whole Grain Bread drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, I'm going to try to make the Austin Powers Wiener ship. That is hilarious. I know some people want to make the Spaceball ship. I know for me, you got to remember, folks, I'm old. So one of the ships, and it's rather small, so I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with it. Battlestar Galactica had their X-Wing type of ships where it was just one man, one person in the ship. So I would like to just fly that around as maybe because I had build a base and hey, I'm going to go out and just, fly around, whatever. I'm looking forward to base building, which I normally don't do. The character creation, I'm going to spend significant time in. I just 7 days, folks. 7 days more of waiting.
8 p.m. August 31st for me.
So you're on the East Coast.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's yep.
Me too.
So
I'm in the East Coast, so it's 8 p.m. ET for anyone on the East Coast. Obviously, Bethesda they said they're going to put out a chart. Follow them on Twitter. Have alerts so when the chart goes out for your region, you'll know exactly when you can officially download it. We'll start playing because I already have mine downloaded. You can you can upload the 100+ gigs right now, and I think that's only when you buy the early access you get the ability to do that. Otherwise, it's just
the
waiting.
premium. Yeah.
Yeah, the premium. Which I did. I mean, who's not going to get that? But Skullsy, let's sell your brand, brother. Obviously, you're known as Mr. Bethesda in these streets. You have a lot of information. I would imagine that your channel is going to be buzzing with tons of Starfield content. Where could people go and check that out? Subscribe, hit the bell icon so every time you put content out there, you'll be alerted. And more importantly, where could people reach out to you on social media?
Yeah, so thanks again, Boom. Always an awesome time here. Looking forward to coming back and talking more Starfield after we play the game. So, anyone that wants to follow me over on YouTube, I have a channel where I talk about Starfield, RPGs, a lot of other stuff. It's youtube.com/Skullsy. And you can follow me over on Twitter at Skullsy TV as well for updates on the channel and just other stuff, Starfield news. I'll probably posting a lot of gameplay pictures when the game comes out. And I just gave Elon $8 now, so you might see my posts get recommended more often. So that's nice.
Scott, well, listen, bro. Obviously, you do a ton of Bethesda content, and this is now you're coming into it's the end game for you and your channel. You're gonna have a ton of stuff out there, lots of videos, lots of opinions, and we'll be able to give our. I would imagine you're gonna have a review in progress. That's gonna be gonna go on, and as you continue to play through this game, the review is going to go up. I'm going to have a review in progress, obviously, when the game releases. We're going to have a launch party that Friday morning on Breakfast with Boom. And you would imagine that you're going to get top-notch coverage. You're going to get some video gameplay in the background of Starfield. Being the game as big as it is, there really won't be any like spoilers because I won't put any story content there. I'm going to be doing just my explorations and some of the things I find. And I think everyone's going to have different things on different water cooler moments, if you will. Again, shout out to over 600 people that tuned in this morning or this afternoon for this amazing new episode of X Vlog Live. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have our regular crew with us, but we also have the Dusty Uno who's going to come through for the first hour before he gets out to work. And of course, we have King David who's going to be joining us, and we're going to be talking about. I have a story here that I pulled from GameIndustry.biz, where they sat down and had a chance to talk to Xbox Chief Marketing Officer Jarrett West, and he had some pretty big things to not only say about Bethesda but about Starfield. We're going to be covering that. We're also going to be covering the ridiculous pricing of the all of the new peripherals for the for the PlayStation handheld, folks. The handheld $200, and guess what? It basically does nothing. You can't Bluetooth gone. Basically, in your house you can play your PlayStation, and that's about it. Complete waste of $200. The earbuds I think are $250, which is more than the actual unit. And we're starting to get some information that unless you buy these $250 earbuds, Sony did something in a way that if you have wireless headphones, you cannot pair it with this new device, meaning that you can only use the wireless headphone, the earbuds. And I don't know if you can use the wireless headset. I would hope so, but if that's Bluetooth, you can't. So what are they doing? We're going to break all of that down tomorrow, and obviously the general King David himself is going to be with us to break all of it down. And obviously it's going to be a lot of laughs. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that's incredibly important. First of all, a big shout out to all of the super chats. I got to make sure that I mention that because we're owed nothing. We do this for the love of this community, and everyone has been so generous. And we have a lot of big giveaways. And just to give people an update in regards to the 15 copies that we're giving away of Stalker 2, well, it has been confirmed that that is going to be first quarter of 2024. So that particular contest is going to be moved into the first quarter. That's going to be our first big contest of next year. We're giving away 15 copies of Stalker 2. We're buying them at full price, $76.43 here in New Rochelle, and we're going to give them away to 15 people that are going to be in the chat. We're going to do, we're going to do a picker, and if your name gets picked, you tell me where you want the game, whether it be PC, whether you want it on Xbox, and you're going to get it. So what we're going to do for the remainder of the 3 contests, the big ones that we have, is we're going to add another $500 to the Christmas show, meaning that when we have our end of year holiday show, rather than it be $1,000 like it was last year, this year we're going to do $1,500 giveaway in 2 hours. The prizes are going to range probably from digital gift cards because it's much easier. But if you live outside of the United States, don't sweat it because Mrs. BoomStick and I will transfer your winnings in monies via PayPal only to your country where you live, so you don't miss out on the contest. Everyone worldwide supports Double Barrel Gaming, and we want to support you. And any transfer fees we pay, any denomination differences, and let's say, for instance, your money is worth more in your country than it is here, we will pay the balance. You will get whatever the prize is, whether that be $200, $100 or $50, whatever it is. If you're outside of the United States, you will be awarded that. Again, just FYI, you don't have PayPal. You got to get it because that is the only way that we do it. Only because it protects us. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting Double Barrel Gaming, both with the financially through the super chats and the channel memberships, and of course with the views. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to us. Hopefully, one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, "Craig, treat others how you want to be treated." And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, Craig. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.